Hello, my love. Today I want to chat about something that I think a lot of us kind of set goals for in the beginning of the year, and that is our oral care, straightening our teeth, sometimes even teeth whitening. And specifically in this video, I'm going to talk about clear aligners, Invisalign, and also a little bit about my experience with braces and Invisalign, just in case if you're someone who wants or is considering getting Invisalign, and just kind of, like I said, going over the process. In this video, I'll be talking about the pros and cons. I'll talk about insurance and payment plans. I will chat about the difference between braces and Invisalign, like from my experience. Part 2, I will talk about the essentials. I will talk about like what you need for, cleaning your teeth, kind of keeping on you. I will also chat about the first week of Invisalign and how I felt about it versus what other people said online. Stick around for the video. I will have the timestamps below, as well as I'll link my blog that talks about the essentials for Invisalign. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to say before I even get into my story, if there's one thing that I can make very clear to you with Invisalign, is if you are not disciplined, if you don't plan on being disciplined, I would not get Invisalign. The reason being is it's very different from when you have braces. Invisalign requires that you're wearing them all the time, but you have to take them out to eat. You have to take them out to drink, anything that's not clear. So if you're not disciplined enough to do that and brush your teeth and do those different things, I would not even consider Invisalign. I would just scratch that out of your mind and move on to braces, because as pretty or easy as they are, because you don't really see your teeth, like people don't really see your trays in your mouth, the aligners, it's still not easy in that sense. So that's the one thing I will say as a disclosure. And then right now I'm just going to jump into really quick my story. I actually had braces when I was like middle school-ish, and that part, I think it was 2 or 3 years I had them. I loved them back then and I hated them too. The thing that I guess would irk me about them with braces was just like the whole scratching your gums and doing this or that when you have them in. I didn't mind having, I thought braces were cute. Like you could put the little rubber bands on, and I loved it. And I loved my teeth. I had never had a cavity up until then, and I still don't have a cavity, or never have had a cavity up until now at 34 years old. 34 years old. I was like, how old did I turn? But 34 years old. And that experience to me was great. I was compliant. I did what I needed to do. What it came down to in the end for me with braces was you have to wear your retainers. They don't talk about this a lot, but you have to wear your retainers. And a lot of times you have to wear your retainers for the rest of your life. And I wasn't really aware of that. I thought because my mom, she doesn't wear her retainers. My mom's teeth literally look the same as they did in her high school, her senior pictures. So I thought her teeth look the same. Why would I have to wear my retainers for the rest of my life? So I ended up, I'm pretty sure they broke, because I don't really lose things often. It's very rare that I lose something. But I'm pretty sure it was that they broke. The wire broke, because it's those old school retainers with the wire on them. And I just stopped wearing my retainers, because I was like, well, I went this far, 4 years or something of wearing my retainers. It should be fine. It was not fine. Not at all. My teeth started to transition. They started to go back to the way they were and start to crowd in different things on the bottom part of my teeth. And I found out later on when I did go get my Invisalign, the reason why that probably was even more so was because I had gotten 2 teeth on the top extracted, but I didn't get any on the bottom extracted. So there's that. I don't know why the doctor did that at the time. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if it was because I was too young. I have no idea. I just know that that is my story, and I did not hate braces. I just wanted to try something different when I got to this point, with Invisalign. I didn't mind having them because there's so many kinds of braces out there. There's clear braces, there's golden ones, there's braces that go behind your teeth. But I wanted to try the aligners because they're clear, and I knew I wanted to be on YouTube, and I was like, I don't want another distraction. Let me just try this Invisalign. And if it doesn't work, I'll do braces, or I'll do a different form of treatment for straightening my teeth and aligning my jaw. So that's kind of how I got to this point. And with Invisalign, moving into the next section, I want to talk about kind of the process that you want to go through with getting Invisalign to make sure you're doing your due diligence to know what you're looking for before you actually go into a consultation, before you even meet with an ortho or your dentist or your dental hygienist, dental professional, when getting Invisalign, I want you to do research. I want you to research all methods, all available options, because there's not just Invisalign. And one of the things I mentioned when I talk about the pros and cons is how I don't regret Invisalign, but there was other things I could have did differently, and I knew I could have because I did the research, but I don't even know if the word is greedy. I got ahead of myself because I had an opportunity for my company at the time to pay for the Invisalign. So I chose Invisalign versus using an alternative method that I know probably would have been more helpful for me. So I want you to research all kinds of things. Research Invisalign braces, palate expansions, alternative methods, and see what works for you, because you have to understand that the reason why your mouth is crowded or you have a crossbite and all these different things, there is a root cause. It's never just, oh, my teeth are crooked, unless you like had some kind of freak accident or something like that. But there's usually a root cause into the reason why that is. And a lot of times it's just because, especially in the US, our mouths are underdeveloped. They're very small and they can't fit our teeth properly. But that's not how it should be. That's from the food we eat. That's from the things that our parents were, consuming, and all those things we're not eating. Things, it's a combination of a whole bunch of things. So research those things. And once you research and you come to the conclusion that, okay, I'm going to do traditional, ortho treatments, then I want you to research the best doctors. Go on Invisalign's website or wherever you want to go, but go on Invisalign's website or Google, search for doctors, dentists, dental hygienists, orthos that have done or do Invisalign currently. Invisalign's website actually gives you like a list of them. It tells you like the star rating. When I got Invisalign, it had very detailed information. Like you could tell what the ratings were. It was like from gold, silver, there was platinum, there was a ruby, there was a diamond. They had all diamond plus, I think, too. They had a whole bunch of different levels, and those levels were based on how many cases, how many people they've treated successfully with Invisalign. And I would say it doesn't, just because you've done more of them doesn't mean you're better. It just means that they have more experience. So they know like what works and what doesn't work. They know what aligns your teeth and what doesn't. And I would more likely lean towards that individual than someone else who has less. Not saying that you can't go to someone who hasn't done a lot of cases. There's still beauty in helping, or going to a person who's new, because one, you probably will get a discount or lower rate because they're just learning. I was like, but also sometimes you don't have if your case is more difficult or it's not like a normal one, I would probably go to someone who's done this before, is what I'm saying. So check that out. Go on their website, Invisalign.com, I believe it is. If it's wrong, I'll just put that below on the screen or down below in the description. But go on the website and look at those people and see what works for you. And once you do that, I also want you to go and read reviews. I want you to go on forums. I want you to go look and see what people are saying about Invisalign, because not everybody's experience is the same, just like my experience is not the same. And I'll talk about that when I do talk about my first week with Invisalign. My first week of Invisalign was not the same as every single person I watched on YouTube or in a Reddit forum or who I, asked about it. It was different. So, but getting an idea will help you understand if that's the best alternative for you. So do that research. Once you decide, you've looked at Google, you looked at reviews, testimonials, or before and afters, once you've done all that, then I would go ahead and schedule appointments, schedule your consultation. I would recommend making sure that you're seeing at least 2 people. Like in my case, I only saw 2. I only saw 2 because I did a lot of research and I knew that they were the ones I wanted to go with. So do research and at least get a second opinion. If you need to get a third or fourth, cool, but do that. I ended up going with Aloha Ortho I'm in Las Vegas. They have 2 locations. I went with them simply because it wasn't even just because I loved the environment, because I loved both the environments of both places I went to. It was just that they were closer to me and I liked their payment plans. And so I'll talk about cost and payments in a second here. But find the one that you like. I had different things that I didn't want. Like I didn't want to get any more teeth extracted. They gave me the option. Whereas the first one I went to, they gave me the option, but they said more than likely it was better to remove my 2 teeth. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Because now that I know I'm an adult and I've done research, I know you need to keep your teeth in your mouth as long as you possibly can. Like your teeth are important. Like they're very important. And just extracting them just for the sake of having straight teeth, that's not what I wanted. Because coming into Invisalign, I didn't do it just because I wanted straight teeth. I was okay with my teeth being not perfect because my top teeth were fine. When I smiled, people couldn't even tell that I had crowding on the bottom. And I'm sure at this point I've showed you a picture, and if I haven't, I'll show you a picture now. But I did it mainly because I wanted to heal my TMJ. Like I was having, since the pandemic, I was having pain in this jaw here on my left side all the time, and I wanted to heal it. And I heard, based on what I've read, that your teeth, your jaw, if you could align them properly, that it will fix the TMJ. But as I did more research, I actually found out I didn't really need Invisalign to do that. I actually healed it before I even finished my Invisalign treatment without even moving my teeth, because there's other factors like, collagen and stress and, minerals we need. So I'm just saying, make sure you do that and you ask the questions when you go to this consultation. Have a list of questions, ask them about their payment plans. Ask them what is their process with retainers? What if I lose my retainers? Ask them about the trays, because your trays and your retainers are different, but the trays, your trays, how often will I be switching them out? Ask them, do they have an interest rate on their payment plans? If I pay a lump sum, how does that work? Just ask the questions that you have and don't be afraid to ask them, because this is where you're trying to figure out if they're the person for you. You're choosing them. They're not choosing you. So make sure you figure that out and have the questions you want written down. How often do I need to see you? Because sometimes you can go with Invisalign, you could just go, to another town that's nowhere near you, because you're going in every 10 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, sometimes even more than that. So it's very flexible, and that is a pro. That is a pro that I'm getting ahead of myself on. The next thing after this that you'll do is you'll end up signing the documents once you decide to move forward with them, because you have to have your legal documentation saying that you agreed to this treatment. And then they will either let you know if you need to get more extractions, or if you need to, whatever you need to do, they'll let you know in advance. And if they require that, then you'll get rescanned again after you complete those things. But if you don't require it, they may not have you rescan. They may just use the scans that they used on that first appointment and then order your trays. It kind of just depends on your situation. So you technically could end up getting your trays literally 3, 4, 5 weeks later after the consultation, or you can go back again if you're still deciding. Don't feel pressured to move forward if you don't want to, is what I'm saying. Is you can have it done, order your trays, your treatment plan that day, or you could do it in the future. And either way is fine. And so once you actually get to that point where you signed, you agreed for your trays, then they will order your trays, the treatments. And some doctors are going to give you all of them in advance. And I just realized I didn't bring the box. I saved a box. So I'll post here a picture of it, but they have they'll give you these boxes that have all your trays in them for each week or 2 weeks that you need to wear these trays. And some dentists, some orthos will give you all of the treatment. So me, I had 38 trays or 36 trays in my first set. And the last 2 are called overcorrection trays. Overcorrection trays are just there if you need them to tighten your teeth. Say you have gaps in your teeth and things like that. So I ended up using, I believe it was 34 or 36 trays. I can't remember, and I'll put it on the screen, on my first set, and they gave them all to me. So just be aware of that. Some doctors don't give them all to you. And I think it depends on how you're doing your payments. And then from there, that first appointment, they will so when you go in to get your trays, that first appointment, or it could be your second appointment, they'll put your attachments on. A lot of people are not familiar with attachments. They don't know about the buttons that go on your teeth. So just be aware that when you get Invisalign, the majority of people get buttons or attachments. They're little glued on pieces that go on your teeth to help the trays move. This is also when they might tell you, you might want to ask this actually before, if you may need bands, or they have implant. There's all kinds of things that can go on with Invisalign to help you move your teeth. It's very advanced now. It's not like your Invisalign from over a decade ago. That will happen on the first appointment if it needs to. If it doesn't, they'll let you know. With attachments, a lot of times the doctors will try not to put them on your front teeth so that you don't see them right here in the front. So unless you have issues with your front teeth, they typically will try to avoid putting them on your front teeth, but it can happen. So after this appointment, you'll go home, and like I said, I'll talk more about that first week, but they'll send you back with some stuff that you need, answer any questions. They'll show you how to put your trays on and take them off, and then you're good to go. You're good to go. You have your Invisalign. In that appointment or after, they'll also schedule you for 6 to 12 weeks ahead of in the future for them to come back or for you to come back, so that they could look at your teeth, make sure they're moving correctly, make sure the attachments are on. You're usually fine if you lose 1 or 2 attachments. It's usually fine. It just depends on where they are located. And you could just wait until you go in again for that next appointment. Another thing that is useful for me, and I'll talk about this again later, but I wanted to mention it now, is you definitely check out the app TrayMinder. I actually, for the first, I think 3 months I had Invisalign, I used TrayMinder and the Invisalign app, and I actually liked TrayMinder better. It is free. You could also have a paid version, but it will help you with like tracking your trays. So that's another thing that could be useful, another tool that you could download. And that's where I kept a lot of my notes. That's how I know and remember the things that happened with me in my first week, my first couple of months, is because I was using the TrayMinder app to track like my appointments. I tracked like how many attachments I had. I just tracked a whole bunch of information. So definitely check out the TrayMinder app. So right now I want to real quick talk about my pros and my cons. And then after that, I'll follow it up with just a couple things on payments and compliance and retainers and things like that. But my pros with Invisalign, I love Invisalign. Like, I don't regret it. But there are alternative options that I could have took advantage of that I didn't, because I had the opportunity to have $2,000 from my old company paid towards the Invisalign treatment. So there's some books that I would definitely recommend to read, to check out, before you get Invisalign. I would check out the book Breath by James Nestor, and I would check out The Sleep Paradox. I think that's what it's called, by Dr. B. Ask the Dentist on Instagram, YouTube, and wherever else whatever social media platform you're on. I would check those books out and other books like it, talking about your breath, because a lot of, like I said, with your alignment of your teeth has to do with your whole body, how it's functioning. Like, it's so interesting when you look at like chiropractic care, or just people who help with like physical therapy, how so many things are related, even traditional Chinese medicine. And maybe even German new medicine too. But like, there's a lot of different holistic ways to be able to start to heal yourself too, that may be less cost. They might cost less, and they probably will end up being better for you. Because if you can make it where you could expand your palate better, this is helping in your mouth, your jaw, this is helping you breathe better. This is helping people heal from sleep apnea and all kinds of things. So check out those books for sure. But that would be the pro. Like with Invisalign is, of course, the looks. Another pro for me is it's easy for me. Like, you didn't have to, like, for instance, braces, they're obviously very obvious they're there. You could still tell you have Invisalign, but it's not obvious in the same way as braces. So like cosmetically, if you're like a model, or if you're on YouTube, or you're anywhere forward facing and you don't want to have braces for a long period of time, I mean, it's a great option. It's a great option. I feel like the treatment plan, if you're compliant, it goes by pretty quick. I feel like it's a pro also that you don't have to go to your doctor or dentist often. You're going like average 10 weeks. Like in my case, I went every 10 weeks. So it's like those pros to me outweigh the cons. You could eat what you want. I would say, I think that's all of them there, but I would say the cons are, I did not like how the attachments are grinded off. I did not like that. I didn't know about it because I don't think I ever saw anybody on YouTube like show it. I heard people talking about it, but I think I just like forgot about it. But how they grind the attachments off at the end of your treatment, I didn't like that. I have had really great oral care like my whole life. My teeth have, like, before I had Invisalign, people used to compliment me all the time, like, oh, your teeth are so white. And I'll post a picture because I think you could see it in my first tray, how you could see how white my teeth were. And that was without whitening. And I drank tea all the time. I still drink tea all the time, but my teeth now, I don't do oil pulling like I used to. I used to do coconut oil pulling or sesame oil pulling like every other day. And people always would compliment me on my teeth. And I noticed after Invisalign, my teeth started to get like translucent and like clear. And that is usually due to demineralization. And so I have been working hard diligently for, months to be able to remineralize my teeth. And it started making me think, should I have just gone for braces? Because I'm like, I know I have good oral care, but something happened in between. I don't totally like the idea of IPR, even though IPR is really the option that you would take if you can't or don't want to get your teeth extracted or pulled out. IPR is where they're grinding your teeth like on the sides to be able to make it more room, but they're not getting rid of your actual tooth. So it was a better option, but I'm not too fond of it. Like, it's not like the thing for me. Also didn't like, because with Invisalign, you really need to keep the trays in your mouth for like 20 to 22 hours. Like 22 is really the goal. Like you really don't want to take your trays out except for when you're eating, brushing your teeth, or drinking something that's not clear. Because of that, I knew and understand that brushing your teeth is not really the best thing to do right after you eat. You really should wait like 30 to 45 minutes. I know that because, again, I've always been really into my oral care. So I know that. And that was one of the things I was most worried about, because it's not good for your teeth to do that. And I think that might be why my teeth started to become translucent. And so, yeah, that's another con. Another con is price. if you don't have the funds to spend with Invisalign, like Invisalign is an investment or not, depending on how you view it. Invisalign is costing you like on the low, very low end, because I don't really see people quoting at this, but $1,500 at the lowest, which I don't even know if that's available in 2025 anymore, but anywhere from there all the way up to 10,000 or more. Like my treatment was, I actually forgot my note, but it's 52, it was like 5,200 and some change. Then my company would pay up to $2,000. And I'm gonna chat about that in a second when I talk about cost and insurance. But $2,000, so I was responsible for about 30, I ended up being in the end like responsible for like 3,300 because I left my company a little earlier than the 2-year mark. So be aware of that too, because that could be a con or a pro. If you have the money, who cares? Like it's available to you, right? Another con, well, I mean, that's basically, I shouldn't say another con. That's basically the things that I would say are cons, but they're not huge cons. It's something that, like, you could remineralize your teeth, is what I'm saying. I could whiten my teeth again. I can get to that point. I just need to start coconut oil pulling again, which I haven't been doing because I got used to not doing it because I was scared my attachments would fall off. So, and I drink a lot of tea now. Like I drink tea, I'm looking at my teacup. I drink tea all day long. I drink tea, water, and sparkling water. Mineral water and tea is what I drink. Herbal tea all day long. My teeth are not white right now. They're not white, but they're not yellow. They're just more yellow than I'm used to because they used to be whiter. They used to be whiter. Oh, there is one more pro I would say, or one more pro, but I forgot about convenience. I missed that one, convenience. It is convenient to have Invisalign. You don't have to go into the doctors a lot. So just be aware of that. If you're someone who travels a lot, or say you travel, like you live in an expensive place, but you travel to a place that's a little bit more affordable to visit family or for work, that's something to consider because then you don't have to go there like, but for every 10 weeks. And some dentists or orthos will also do virtual appointments, in between if you can't come like every single appointment, every 10 weeks or every 12 weeks. So definitely look at that as well as a pro or a con. Moving on to insurance and payments. So within something to think about when you're getting Invisalign is asking your HR, and I forgot to mention this as a part of my process. It was on my notes, but I started talking. But really making sure before you even get Invisalign that they accept your insurance, and also being aware of how much they're going to pay, because some insurance companies will pay like a lump sum and then they'll pay the remainder of that amount over, however long the treatment is. I'll use an example. In my case, because the payment was like $5,250 or something like that, $5,250 in total. My company would pay up to $2,000 for that treatment. And how it would work is $1,000 would get paid in advance. Like, so when you first start the treatment, they'd pay them that within the first month. And then after, they would pay the remaining $1,000 in installments for the length of the treatment. So my treatment was 2 years. That's what it was written on paper. It ended up being shorter for the side of the actual trays and treatment, but then with the retainer part, because you have to wear your retainers, which I'll talk about in a second, you have to wear your retainers for a little while, or a while afterwards. That's beyond. But for 2 years is what the treatment said. So for 2 years, they paid that $1,000. They would pay that every month until the $1,000 was paid off. Basically, it's broken up equally. So using another example is, say this wouldn't really happen, but say your treatment was $2,000 and you're only doing 10 months. So then you would have $1,000 lump sum, and then the remainder $1,000 would be paid $100 a month for 10 months. If you're doing a 10-month treatment, that probably wouldn't be the case. I think there are people who do like 6 to 12-month treatments, but I'm just saying it's not a likely scenario is what I'm saying. So don't think that it's only going to be like $2,000. So that's pretty much with insurance. So you want to find out how it works. Some of them don't do lump sums at all. They just pay the monthly amount until the treatment is paid, the 2 years or the 1 year or the 14 months, whatever your doctor, your ortho writes down on your agreement for your treatment plan. Some of them, they're doing like net 60, net 90. They're doing these quarterly amounts or semi-annually. So you want to find out, because if you leave that job or you're laid off from that job, you won't have health insurance, depending on the situation, but in most cases, you won't have your health insurance anymore or have access to your ortho, your dental plan. So just be aware of that. When it comes to the HSA and the FSA, the health savings account and the flexible spending account, if you have one, you are aware that you might not be aware. You can use that money to pay for your appointments with your ortho, your dentist. So you also could take advantage of that too. And if you want to pay it monthly, if the company you go to or you have went to, you decided on, if that dental office allows you to, you could do monthly payments or quarterly or however you want to do it. Some dentists do offer, 0%. As long as you pay it on time, you don't have any issues. Some of them don't do that. So be aware of your situation and make sure you find the right dental professional to be in alignment with what you want. Retainers. Like I mentioned before, I was not aware that retainers are something you wear for your entire life. So this is another con, technically to me, of Invisalign, because if you were to be able to expand your mouth properly, like people who have big mouths, I don't mean to say it like they talk a lot, but like bigger mouths, larger mouths, they tend to have straighter teeth. If your teeth can fit in your mouth, that's typically like your teeth fit in your mouth, you usually don't have crowding. If you pay attention to people who you knew who like always had straight teeth, their mouths are big enough to fit their teeth. So that's why when you get Invisalign or you do any type of alignment, a lot of times your teeth will move because your mouth is still too small for the amount of teeth you have. That's why they extract your teeth usually, to be able to make room. But in my case, like I said, I didn't want to get any more teeth extracted. So be aware that your retainers are something that is part of it's not always going to be mentioned as part of the treatment. So they may say your treatment's 2 years. It may be less, but it may be 2 years, depending on your compliance. And then usually that is not including how long you have to wear your retainers, because your retainers, you need to wear them to kind of set your teeth for another extended amount of time. Some doctors say 3 months, some say 6 months, some say a year. My ortho, he said 1 year of wearing them 24/7 like you did the trays. So you're supposed to wear them 1 year all the time, the same way you did during the treatment. And then after that first year, then you can go to nighttime. Some dentists, like I said, will say 3 months, some will say 6 months, and then some of them will actually have you come back. My dentist, my ortho, I didn't have to go back to him, to Dr. C. I mean, I can if I need anything, but you don't have to go back, I think, because they knew also that I had been compliant the whole time. I never missed, like I was on track. I actually finished early. So be aware of that too, because a lot of people don't realize that with retainers, it's the rest of your life type of thing. But the good news is you can go to wearing them just at night. And some people even say you can do like a couple nights a week versus doing it every single night once you get past like a year or two of wearing your retainers only at night. Attachments, I already talked about attachments, but again, a reminder, make sure you are aware that you more than likely will have attachments or buttons, whatever you would like to call them. Another thing is compliance. Said this in the beginning, say it again, just in case you skipped over to this part. It is very important to be compliant with Invisalign. It is very important that you are wearing them 24/7. Literally, whenever you are not eating, brushing your teeth, or cleaning them, or like doing something where you can't wear them, keep them in your mouth. And I'm telling you, your treatment will fly by. There are so many people who waste so much time and honestly, I don't get it, because it's a very big, to me, investment, spending or investing, however you look at it. $5,000 for me, that's a lot of money for something like that. Because yes, it's funny because I would be someone who's like, oh, I'll spend $5,000 on a trip, an experience. But then for my teeth, I'm like, that's a lot. I did it. But, in your head, it's like, that's a lot for that. But is it really a lot? I'm not sure. But you get what I'm saying is you're paying a larger sum of money than you would for other things. So just be aware of what you're doing. Like, get it done. Be consistent. Wear your trays. Don't ever, and I'm going to talk about this when I talk about the essentials, always keep your trays in the case when you take them out. Don't put them on paper, especially if you're someone who loses stuff a lot. Keep them in the case so that you never have to worry about them getting stuck, thrown away, lost, whatever. Lastly, rescans. Be aware that sometimes you'll get your trays, your treatment plan, and it says 36 weeks, but sometimes it's longer than that. Be aware that some doctors, they are going to allow you to get a certain amount of rescans. You'll get scanned again at the end to make sure that your teeth are in alignment with what your plan says, and they'll make sure that you like them aesthetically. I've seen people who get 4, 5, 6 different treatments because they want their teeth to be so perfect. I was not one of those people. I don't need my teeth to be perfect. I just wanted my jaw to be in alignment, my teeth to be straighter. They didn't have to be perfectly straight. And so that's why my plan ended up being about, I think, a year and a half, even though it said 2 years. It took about a year and a half. I had 26, the first one was 36 trays that I had. I didn't do the overcorrection. And the second one was, I believe, 25. So that's 60 something, almost 70 weeks. So that's not even a full 2 years. So just be aware of that you And when you're asking questions, see how much it is for rescans, because some people do want very perfect teeth and they get a lot of rescans done. Rescan just mean when they're scanning your teeth to be able to get the trays printed out for you, because you scan them with this special technology that Invisalign uses, and then you use that machine, those scannings, to be able to print out well, you don't print them out, but they'll print out your trays for you. So just be aware of that. And that's pretty much like, that's what I recommend. That's what I feel like is good enough information for you just in the beginning to understand kind of what to expect and what to look for. And then as you actually go on this journey, you'll start to see like, oh, okay, these are things that I could do. This is what I don't want to do. This is what, I could drink this kind of water without messing up my trays, or, you'll figure your flow, your vibe that you have with Invisalign. There's no perfect way, but I just really recommend compliance in cleaning your trays. And in part 2, what we'll talk about is cleaning trays, the essentials. I'll talk about the first week. So if that's what you're into, check out this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. With all my love, Lana.